Hi everyone, it's me, Brooke Kaki here from Kaki Wigs, and I am going to attempt a Halloween wig with you all. We're gonna do, here's the inspiration. We're gonna do a wig from Mars Attacks, which is a campy comedy, I don't know if you could call it a horror, I guess. I feel like as a wig stylist, it's a rite of passage to do one of these. I've not done one before, but I feel like every wig stylist has at least been asked to, or has made one of these themselves. It's not gonna be a full tutorial like what I'm used to doing, just because I don't really know what I'm doing. I've watched one video, it was a James Mansfield one, but she used a 2-litre Coke bottle or something, which worked. But this needs to do more than leave this needs to leave the studio, and this needs to be a performance wig. So we're gonna do that, but make it a little more ready for wear, if that makes sense. So I've seen that one video, and I've got some ideas of my own about how I'm gonna go about creating it. But as I've never done it before, I don't want to do it as a full tutorial. So follow along with me, I guess, as I make this Mars Attacks wig. And I guess by the thumbnail, you'll see whether or not it was a success or a fail. But I'm quietly confident that we'll be able to do something that I'm gonna be happy with in the end. So the way I think I'm going to approach it is just as a I don't know how to describe it. I'm gonna start with my sort of updo base, and the first step is separating the hairline, the hand-tied section. Now I am going to eventually put the middle sort of region up, but for now, actually, I think I'm gonna end up putting all of this hairline up. So let's just get it out of the way so we can focus on getting the rest of the wig, the back of the wig, in order. Okay, and then when it comes to my updo sort of base thing, I'll take everything from the crown of the head, which is the wefts that are going this way, parallel to the face, and that forms one ponytail. And then everything else I'll put into a sort of French twist type deal, so that the hair at the back is looking quite nice. But I do the French twist first, and then I go ahead and lock in this ponytail where we want it. And because it's a double stack, you'll need to pay attention to, I say you, as if you're ever gonna follow along with this. Well, who knows, you might. But you'll need to pay attention to how far forward or backwards your center of gravity is. So with a double stack, you always want it to be a bit further forward, because otherwise if you've got it sitting too far back, the wig is then too heavy and then it slides off or comes off during your performance, or it just doesn't stay on the head long enough for you to even glue it. Okay, so now that the crown of the head is up and out of the way, what we're going to do is basically do a French roll up the back like that, so everything's nice and out of the way, right? And then it looks super clean and slick and everything like that. But I don't know yet where we're going to sit the length of the hair, so it's possible that the back of the wig is going to be on display. So we're going to do what's called a rooted hairline. It's just strategic teasing, yeah, to hide the inner workings of the wig, right? So none of this needs to be teased from the top half of this back section. So we can go ahead and just get that out of the way. And to be honest, most of this hair that I'm leaving down doesn't need to be teased. It's just the stuff at the hairline. So we'll get this up and out of the way with a clip. So all I'm gonna do now is bring down the rest of the hair that we sectioned off before. And before I get everything looking nice and slick and rolled and tight, I like to, I guess, preload the zip tie. And the way I'm gonna go about that is I'm gonna take my zip tie. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what color zip tie you use because you're gonna need to disguise it anyway. And this is not gonna be visible, but I generally match light zip tie colors to light wigs. And this is kind of an in-between, but I'm still gonna use a white zip tie. So you find the center of the wig. I find that these little weft thingies are a great way to quite easily find. And you actually want to go underneath one of them, catch it, if you will. Because when you roll up your French thingy, that's what's going to hold it in place. So I'm going to lift a little bit up and out of the way and go underneath that central elastic band, the ones that run all down the wig. And so she's preloaded, ready to go, but we're not going to think or focus on the zip tie right now. All I want is to make sure everything is nice and smooth and slick. And because this is a new wig, honestly, it's very easy to get nice and smooth and slick. Angle the head back like that so that you can gather it in an angle that's closer to how you're going to be rolling it. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully it does. Instead of pulling it directly up into a ponytail, you can sort of angle the head back and then relax down a bit more. But it's still going up in terms of the direction of the hair. This is such a pain to do on camera. Using my other hand to continue twisting up here. And honestly, that's basically it, right? You can keep it twisted with tension at the top while you're zip tying it. And you want that zip tie nice and tight. Sometimes I'll do two, just to really lock it in. And I reckon that's what we'll do here. Excellent. Now I'm going to keep all this hair forward. You can even clip it if you really want to. And I'm just going to do a little bit of finessing with this hair at the back. Another little, I don't know if you saw that, that was a good catch. Another little thing you can do is you can take your, just the same thing that you block down your lace with, or a shoelace, or anything like that, and you can pin it so that the hair is really pressed into that direction that you want it, and pull it nice and tight. Hit it with some more hairdryer action. And spray it at the root. You don't want to get down here because we still need to trim those, and it's difficult to trim the hair in a nice way when it's caked in hairspray. So we'll just contain all of our hairspray at the root. She should be nice and flush. Like that. So we can go in, and there's many different ways you can do this. I've got thinning scissors, I've got regular cutting scissors somewhere around here. I use generally a combination of the two. So you can cut it to length with a sort of feathering motion. Like that. And actually, I think I'm going to stop here. I won't do the further texturing because this seems to be doing quite a good job. And that's it. Like, that's your rooted hairline. It's still a wig, but it's a lot more well disguised, is all. You know, and then when you think about the logistics of real long hair when it's up, there are these little flyaways that sit down, and this just looks like a more like slicked version of that. So yeah, we're gonna take our big kitchen scissors and cut those zip ties off. Now, I'm gonna really lock in all of this hair here, but I've already given it a first spray, so all I need to do now is take a large bobby pin, and this little thing where the knot sort of sits over to the other side, you can lock it in by weaving through that really tight hair and just securing that here. Which honestly, it's not going to go very far without the safety, the bobby pin anyway, because it's so tightly wound or whatever. But one thing you don't want is like shifting and like further turning and twisting and stuff. So, you know, just one large bobby pin should do the trick. I've never had any complaints otherwise. So then what we're going to do is move this out of the way and then take everything from the crown and kind of join it in almost a ponytail. Now, if I was doing this wig for myself, and for me, wigs are quite disposable because I run a wig business, so I have hundreds. I would cut off the top, or like this extra hair here, so that it's not as heavy. But I know this is going to be a Halloween wig and not necessarily worn all year round, so this person may want to restyle the base wig, so for that reason I'm just going to leave it intact as it is. And honestly, that's kind of it for the base wig. What I'm now going to do is, when I get the topper delivered, I'm going to feed some of those jumbo donuts over the head, or over this ponytail, and that's going to form the height, and then we'll sit the topper wig on top. And I think I'm going to tease all this hair up and attach it to this hair that'll be poking out the very top of maybe 2 or 3 donuts. Then we're gonna flip the hair, and honestly, that's kind of it. Okay, it is a new day in the workroom, and I have everything I need to finish the wig. I don't remember what we were up to last time. That was a few days ago. So this is where we're at. We have all of the hair up in a French twist ponytail kind of thing. And then there's this hair sitting out the front that I'm just going to clip away. Yeah, so I have the hair donuts. And if you look at the Mars Attacks wig, it kind of has a big beehive but also cone shape. So the way we're going to achieve that is by stacking these donuts on top of each other to make this kind of shape, and then the wig should sit, as opposed to this big square sort of thing. It's going to be a little bit more pointed. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is zip tie the donuts together. So we have one uniform, very stable piece, and that's going to sit right here on top of the wig. And I realistically should have zip tied it together after feeding the ponytail through all 3 donuts one at a time. But I didn't think that far ahead, and there are other ways to do this. So I'm going to hold open between the 2 donuts here and grab the ponytail and pull it through one donut at a time. So there's the first. And then reaching Just like that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is secure it by sort of flaring it out on the very top. Like that. And then I'm going to use a bigger zip tie, possibly even 2 of them. And you can extend your zip ties by just feeding the end of one through the start of another, like that. And I'm gonna hold it down, squish it in, and tighten this baby. Now, there are a number of ways you can do the next step, which is securing the donut itself to the head. I am using a lot of zip ties, so we might as well keep that going. Now, bear in mind, none of this is going to be visible underneath the topper wig, so it doesn't really matter about making too much of a mess. But what I'm going to do is, so that I can zip tie it here in the middle and quite far forward on the wig so that the center of gravity isn't too far back, we're going to take 2 pins like this, and I will get in nice and close for you. Find the center of the wig, which you can kind of see where the seam is, and you're going to take one and hold some hair out one side and hold it on the other, so you're kind of using it to force open a hole which you can feed a zip tie through, just the little tiny baby zip ties, right? And I find that this is the best way to secure double stacks. But in this case, we're just securing the donut for now. If you want to do a more temporary solution, you can simply just use bobby pins to hold it to the wig below it. But the diva I'm making this for is quite a dancey one, so I want it to be as secure as possible. I'm going to do the same thing kind of in multiple places, probably 3 or 4. I'm going to say 4. All around, so it's nice and stable. And you know what? For good measure, we're gonna chuck in some bobby pins as well. The next thing I'm going to do is take a hairnet. Usually you get any wig ordered online in a hairnet, so you can just use the one that the wig has arrived in if you've got one. Otherwise, you can use a wig cap as well. But I have an excess of these hairnets, so I'm just going to wrap it around here. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to take all of this hair that we sectioned out before, and we're going to give it a little bit of a tease, and then we're going to put it up like that. So I think the way that I want to go about this is I'm going to do it in 2 halves. So I'm basically going to go around the hairline and split it in 2. Like so. In the first one, I'm going to tease quite extensively. In the second one, I'm going to put a little more care into so that it looks like it's sitting a bit more smoothly and whatnot. So I haven't quite decided just how I'm going to do this. Alright, so I guess I'll start in the middle and see where that takes us. I kind of want to fill in some of this negative space that we're going to have here in the middle of the wig. And the way I'm going to go about that is just by teasing the heck out of it. You don't want to get rid of all of the surface teasing though, and that's because the mess is actually what gives it a lot of structure. Because the way that the hairspray works is it sticks the hair to itself. So the more you have these hairs looping around and contacting each other, the more points of contact you have between each strand of hair that you glue or hairspray, the stronger the overall structure is going to be. I think I'm going to zip tie it to the back of this donut. And the way I'm going to go about that, I'll lean it forward so you can kind of see what I mean. Wonderful. Now that that's in place, I'm just gonna whack it with a whole bunch of hairspray. Douse it. Alright, this needs to be super rock solid before we can layer the next one on top of it. I'm even gonna add some hidden bobby pins. These ones should be the same color as your wig, because there's a possibility the hair will move and they'll become visible, and you don't want them to be a completely different color. So I'm gonna go through this part here and just pin to this the middle donut. Now the fun part is the nice smooth surface. Okay, so my camera died, but we're back. We're back. All I did was tease the other two bits, and now we're just in smoothing mode. There is a little bit of a like sort of gappage situation happening here. I'm not too fussed about it because we're going to add a swirl. So it's actually not too big of a deal, and it's very convenient, at least conveniently placed. So that works for me. We're gonna leave it at that, because otherwise I'm gonna spend all night doing this. I'm also thinking about taking some hairstyling gel, which is kind of the step above hairspray, and putting it on my hands, and then really solidifying this front section. But I'm gonna wait until I've added the second wig on top, because I don't know how compressive that's going to be, and that might mean we need some readjustments, potentially. I'm just going to add a row of bobby pins here, just to kind of keep the hair in this arrangement. Okay, cool. Now is the exciting part. We're going to take this topper wig. Now, this is the same wig, but I have already gone and cut the lace off of it. I'm just going to see what the situation is looking like. All I'm looking for right now is the length, and then we're going to fasten it a little bit later. But for now, I just kind of need an indication of where to cut the wig, and then that way we can curl it in that flip kind of way that they do in the movie. So. Jeez, it's really tall, isn't it? Okay. I mean, I guess that's what we wanted, but still. Okay, so it's kind of a chin length. The important part when you're about to cut it to length is you've got to get the wig sitting where it's going to sit, because if we cut it to length and then we end up pulling this down or forward or something, then it's going to change the shape and you're going to have uneven or wonky hair. And I'm actually going to straighten the wig first. Before I straighten the wig though, just to make it nice and easy for myself, I'm going to trim some of the length off that we absolutely know that we're not going to need. And this is just a rough cut. It just makes it so that there's less hair to work with and it just becomes a lot easier. So I'm going to basically take off all of these more blondie sections, the lighter bits. That is kind of deliciously camp, isn't it? And I'm just going to chuck it on another wig head that I have here. What we can do before we break out the steamer is, I already parted it in the middle part, and to disguise some of those wefts, we're going to do a bit of strategic teasing. So this is what we're looking at the moment. And honestly, it's the top of a like 3 foot tall wig on top of like a 6 foot tall drag queen. So no one's realistically going to see it, but this is just for me. I'm going to take a little bit from either side of that part. And we're going to tease some of it this way. I'm going to tease some of it this way. Kind of like that. And now you can't see the wefts nearly as easily. We're even going to steam that part there so that the default curl pattern is locked in, or this will become the new default. And we're not just relying on hairspray. So I'm going to switch into time-lapse mode while I straighten this wig. So I didn't end up filming the time-lapse. Sorry about it. But what I ended up doing was straightening the mid lengths of the hair and leaving the ends as they kind of are. And look, this is pretty close to what we want, but we are gonna have to make some adjustments when we take it from this wig head and put it on that wig there. And those adjustments are gonna be a lot easier when the ends already have a bit of curl in them and they want to go around the brush. If they were dead straight, you have to kind of like use your thumb and sort of hold it, and you end up burning some fingers with the hair dryer, trying to like hold it around the brush. It's a whole ordeal. So I've left the ends with a little bit of curl in them. So yeah, that's our top of wig, and we simply just got to attach it now. And now I have to think about what I'm gonna do to attach them together. So, my mind is saying bobby pins, but I don't know that that's going to be stable enough. So what we're going to do instead is some more zip ties, I think. A combination of zip ties and the clips and the bobby pins, and it should work a-okay, I think. But there's one way to find out. I am not mad at that. So what we're going to do is we'll start with the zip ties. Right. So, it's secured now in 2 different places, here and here. So I'm just going to do a little assessment. What are we working with? It's coming together. It is coming together. And we'll do some teasing so that it's definitely not going to be possible to see the donut, so don't worry. We're just working on closing that little window down here. Fabulous. And look, the top's pretty secure, but I'm just going to go in underneath some of this hair and just put a bobby pin kind of directly down into the donut. I'd say this is coming along pretty well. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna decide on the swirl, which if you remember we said is going to be on this side, but there's a little bit of gappage going on. Now I think the time has come to cut it to length. And the way that I'm gonna go about that is by leaning it a little bit away from the direction, or from the side that I'm cutting. So if I'm cutting this side, we're gonna lean it that way. And slowly making my way around, creating a nice, consistent, and even blunt cut. Okay, now I think it's time for the curl. Before I plaster this, what I'm gonna do is I will actually slick this hair with a bit more hairspray, but I don't think it's necessary to go in with the hair gel. I think this will be fine as is. I'm just gonna plan it a little bit, so comes down and then circles towards the center of the face, kind of like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to trim it a little bit. Just feather the ends. Like that. Just brush out. So it's gonna sit kind of like that there. And in order to get that, what I'll do is I'm gonna use this got2b, it's just gel, right? I think. Whatever they're calling it. And I'm just gonna paste the hair basically onto this really solid bit underneath it. I'm really not good with my words right now. Let me see if I can zoom you out. Yeah, I think so. Great, and now that my hands are all sticky, I'm gonna give them a wash, and then I'm gonna hit this with the hair dryer and then some hairspray to really lock it in. I ended up doing a few more little touch-ups. All I did was bring the hair a little bit closer to the face. And I think that gives it a little bit more of this conical shape here up the top as well. And now we're happy with it. Now we're happy with it, and this is the finished result. Oh, okay. Let me do a 360. There we go. Oh my gosh. If you enjoyed this, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. That's kind of how these things work, right? Stay tuned for a little tutorial on the upkeep that I do on my wigs between wears and things like that, because some of you guys have been asking to see that. I promise I will do it, but I just have quite a lot of things going on at the moment. So yeah, if you end up following along, or you do one of these and because I've inspired you or something, I'd love to see it. Give me a tag at Khaki Wigs on Instagram, or yeah, that's kind of it. Until next time, YouTube people, bye!